Okay, so here's a quick tutorial on doing form interrogatories for part of our discovery process. So I am going to be sending you a Word document that says frog items on it. And so if you open up that Word document, you will see that it shows preliminary to client auto. What that is those are the questions that defense is going to ask us. And we already know that because it's basically the same with the auto versus auto cases. So there are times when I will prep these uh, form interrogatories or frogs with these item numbers check marked, and then I will send them to our client to give them a head start so that they can start doing their addresses for the last 5 years and all of their school information all the way through colleges and technical schools and um, all the information about their prescriptions and their providers. And the more they can do for me, the easier it is because there's quite a lot to fill out. And some of the stuff I just can't investigate. I don't know where they went to school. I don't know where they were born. So anyway, sometimes doing the preliminary to the client is very helpful to get a head start. Now, there are certain ones for auto. Then if you scroll down, you'll see there's preliminary frogs to client, which would be more of a slip and fall or a premises liability. And then there's also preliminary frogs to the client, which are non-auto on public street or sidewalk. That could be like a bicycle on the sidewalk, or a scooter that you push with your foot, or it could be roller skates or something like that. We don't get a whole lot of those, but those are different. So that's if we were going to do frogs to our own clients to get a head start on the answers. What I'm going to show you now is the frogs that we would send to defense. So we would propound this discovery of form interrogatories to the defense, the people that we sued. I'm going to just show you the auto, and it lists here the different numbers or sections that we are going to check mark on this form through Westlaw Doc program. Okay. There's also ones that we might do for slip and fall premises liability, and those are the numbers of the categories that we would check mark. And then the same thing, non-auto on public street or sidewalk. This would be going to the defense where we're asking them these questions here. So it's kind of an easy cheat sheet until you can memorize it all. I don't even bother memorizing it. I just have this in my book. I pull it out, and as I'm doing my frogs, I can just go down and make sure I hit all of these numbers, and it makes it very, very easy. So I will definitely send this to you in the email with this tutorial, okay? So I'm going to click out of that. The first thing you want to do is you want to go to an internet browser and open that up. Once you're there, go up to where your favorites are, whether it's up here on the bar or whether it's a list that's over here on the right hand side. But you want to go to the link that will get you to the Westlaw Doc Thompson Reuters. Okay, this is what's going to help you make your forms. Now it should pop up and it should already have our Medina 2013, which is Rachel, and the password. I click save username and password so it's always there, but this is also in your provider book, okay? Once you do all of that, click sign in, and you're going to get this screen here, which just is the Rachel Medina welcome page, and we want to leave it at forms because we want to go to the forms, and so you click continue. All right. Now, when we get to here, this is a very big program, so you could be browsing topics and looking for forms in all of these different states. Okay, we don't need to do any of that because if you go up here to the very top bar and you go to Tools with the little tool chest there, click on Tools, and you'll see where it says Form Sets. These are forms in sets that Rachel has already set up for us, which makes it super duper easy because we already have the correct form. All right. So in this form set, there's a subfolder for discovery, Guardian ad litem, which is if you have a minor child, minors compromises, motion to withdraw as counsel, um, just plaintiff, things like maybe association of counsel, something like that. And then you have complaints and all the other documents that go with the complaint or the different superior courts, the ones that we use the most. So Los Angeles, Riverside, San Bernardino, San Diego. Okay. We're going to go up here to discovery and click that. And when you do, you'll see that there are different documents in here. Over here, it'll say what the name of the document is. So that's a civil subpoena for personal appearance at trial or hearing. And then over here on the right-hand side, will tell you what the number is, the form number. So if you ever had to look it up again or whatever, you could do it that way, or you could just search by the name. Now we want to go to form interrogatories. What's important to remember here is there's two. One of them is for limited civil cases. All right, so that's the smaller cases where I think it's like under $25,000 as the recovery. We've only had one or two of those. So it's very limited. You're not allowed to ask a ton of questions because there's not a lot of money involved. So you don't want to do this one. What you want to do is go down to the form interrogatories general. Okay, that's the one we will use for pretty much everybody. So if I click the blue link there, it's going to pull up the actual form. All right, so you can see that it's blank. There's no attorney information or phone numbers or court informations or anything like that. So what we want to do is we want to build it and fill it out, right? So if we click this button over here called Build, this will show up and it's talking about which client and matter do you want to build it from. So now the two dots up here can be either a guided mode where the software will take you through each step by step, or you can do the self-guided mode where you can just kind of rip through it pretty quickly. Once you've done one of these or two of these, you totally have it. You should be able to do the self-guided mode. Now I can click this box if I want that says build without selecting a client and matter. The client would be our plaintiff and the matter would be who we're suing. That information should be entered into this program when we decide to file a lawsuit. However, there are some circumstances where we have not filed the lawsuit yet, but we want to build the discovery and get that ready to go. If that's the case, you click here that says build without selecting a client and matter. And when you click continue, then you have to fill in all the stuff about the attorney and the bar number and addresses and phone numbers and faxes. You have to type all of that in yourself. And then you just leave the case number blank because you haven't filed the lawsuit yet. But you can prep all of the discovery at that time. So that is a possibility if you want to do it. Now the box underneath that is called create new version. Let's just say I made a mistake and I have to go in and I have to fix something. I would click that I want to create a new version. Okay, I'm going to click that. Uh, if I wanted, I could either go into an edit mode and edit it, or I can click create new version and you kind of just start all over. So that's if you maybe check mark some boxes that you weren't supposed to and Shelly said, oh no, that's the wrong ones. You can go in there and you can fix it. All right. So I'm going to pick a client here that we know is an auto versus auto. Okay, just a normal auto accident. And let's see, I think it's Stephanie Oldwin. And then when you click matter, there's Daniela Cardenas. That's the person that we sued. This is our primary set. And then I'm going to click continue. Okay, so what you see here is it's already filled in the blanks. All right, so it says Shelly Zeiss, it's got the bar number, it's got the address. I always double check that. It should be 12 Nevada Street. The P.O. Box should be 10608 Glendale, Arizona. The phone numbers, I just check all of it, all right, to make sure that it filled correctly with the information that we have. Here it says it's San Bernardino Superior Court. It says it's the civil division, gives the address already, and then the short title of the case is Olguin versus Cardenas, and then it will also say the case number over here. Now, I've done this a few times while I was practicing for this tutorial, so I'm going to delete that and show you how we would do the answering party. Let's say I want to do the answering party here. I would just click on that box and type that it's Cardenas and then save and exit, and it will put it in there. If I was going to do the asking party, I type in Stephanie Oldwin, and we don't want that. I'm just going to exit that because it was asking about the answering party again. But anyway, so we've got the asking party here, Stephanie Oldwin. We've got the answering party, which is Cardenas. I guess I could fix that and say that it's Daniela. So that it matches, and then save and exit. And it will update it there, and then set 1. You just type in set 1. All right. So as you go down, all of this stuff is already pre-formatted. What we want to do is we want to make sure that we do a definition. And so the standard definition is here. I check mark it because we usually use the standard definition. However, if Shelley says that she doesn't want to do that, we could uncheck mark that and go to page 2. And up here at page 2 on item number 2, incident would mean, and then you insert whatever incident definition you want to put in there. Okay, so you can put in whatever you want. But if we look at our cheat sheet with the which frog item numbers we want to do, we are going to go ahead and do the original incident, and then we're going to start over here at item 1.0. And so we're going to check mark that. That's just basically asking who did this, who did the answers to all of these questions. We also want to do 2.0, which is general background information. This is why I give it to the clients early so that our responses are ready, because it's every name you've used, the dates you used them, place of birth, you know, all the stuff about your driver's license, all the stuff about where you lived in the past 5 years, all the places you worked in the past 5 years, all the schools that you went to. So it's kind of a lot of stuff. So that's why I sometimes give it to them early so that I don't have to work as hard when it comes time for us to turn it in. So all of number 2 is all done. Now we don't do number 3. That's because we're talking about 2 people. We're talking about Stephanie Oldwin, person who was suing Daniela Cardenas, who's a person. So there's no business entity involved in this lawsuit. If there was, and let's say it's Stephanie Oldwin and she's suing Walmart, then we would be check marking 3.0 instead of the 2.0, because we would want to know the information about the company, not a specific person. Okay. So we're not going to do 3, but we will do 4, which is all about insurance. All right. We're not going to do 6 because the injuries of the other person, that's not something we really need to have answers to. We will do 7, which is talking about the property damage, right? Because we do want to know the property damage. We do not do 8.0 because we don't really care about the loss of earning capacity or income for the other driver. We would only care about that, answering that when we get our frogs to answer about our client missing work and needing to be reimbursed for it. We don't do 9.0, which is other damages. We don't really do the medical history because we're not going to ask them any questions about their injuries. We will go all the way over here to 12.0, which is investigation, though. We do want to know information about the investigation. So this is like traffic collision report and witnesses, and if anybody made any statements, if anybody overheard anybody making any statements. And so we do want to know that kind of information. So all of 12.0, we're going to go ahead and check mark. And then all of 13.0, we're going to check mark because that's surveillance. So that's like, did anybody take photos? Who took the photos? Who has the photos? Things like that. And then we will do 14.0, that's statutory or regulatory violations. We want to know, did anybody get charged with a violation? And then the 15.0 is denials and specific affirmations. Shelley will help you with that. 16.0, defendant's contentions. Shelley can help you with that. She still helps me. And then if we keep going, we are not going to do 17.0, which is responses to requests for admissions, because we're not asking for admissions to anything. We're not sending that discovery out to the defense for them to answer or do admissions. So we don't need to worry about this. And then we will go down to 20.0 because we want to know how the incident occurred, which is the motor vehicle accident. And so it'll say like, where did you start, the date and time, what was the route that you took, all sorts of kind of stuff like that, right? So follow your cheat sheet and just check mark the boxes that you're supposed to check mark. Okay, when you get to the end here, which is the 60.0, then you're just going to click download, and it'll say, it always says that your document is not complete. Don't even worry about that. Just click download again. And it's thinking about it, but it will turn this into a PDF. So we want to make sure we save it. I'm going to save it to this PC, to the desktop. Whenever we save any documents, remember we're going to do the date. So it's going to be 10-27-21. And then we can leave it where it says Form Interrogatories. We really don't care that it's the general version of it, but we do want to put who the client is. So we'll do old one so that we know. The reason we used to do 10.27.21 instead of the hyphens, but now that everything's gone electronic and we have to electronically file things, when you have periods in between these numbers and or words instead of hyphens, it will not accept the document. And so if you can just learn the right way here where it's the hyphens, that will definitely help later on when you have to file it. So then you click save, and it's going to save that to my desktop. I can look at the download here, and there it is. It'll show me everything is all printed nice and neat up here with the case number. And as I scroll down, you can see boxes are check marked and stuff like that. All right. Now, one other thing you have to do when you are sending these out is we have to do a proof of service as well. So if you go into your templates folder and you can go into pleadings, you'll see template POS. Open that. It's a Word document. All right. I try every time we set up a new case, I will set up a proof of service that already has all this information in it, so you don't have to create a new one each time. But if you do, it would be under pleadings, and you could do a proof of service. And what you would do here is you would type in what Superior Court did we file at, and that was Riverside. All right, and then you want to make sure that here it says I'm employed in the county of Redlands. I don't know why I did that wrong. And then the business address. At one time we were using Melinda Lane, but now we are not anymore. So as you do this, try and change this on the templates. And sooner or later we'll get it all fixed to the new street address. So this would be 12 Nevada Street, Suite C, Redlands, California, 92372. The P.O. Box is 10608 Glendale, Arizona, 85318. That is correct. So then on the next paragraph, you put on, and here's where you would insert the date. Now, if you don't know when we're going to be actually filing this, just leave that blank and we can fill it in, just handwrite it. If I know that I'm going to go ahead and just file it immediately, and then I'll type in the date, October 27th, 2021, and then it says, I serve the foregoing document described as. Now, this one, just because it was a template, it had notice of deposition, but this is not a notice of deposition. This is called Form Interrogatories. So make sure that it's all in capitals and that your cap locks is on, and then type out Form Interrogatories, comma, set 1, all right? And that will match what we just did. And then it says on the interested parties, the true copy is always marked. Here is where you put the attorney name, address, phone number, fax, email. All right, so you just substitute that and put in the information. If there's like 4 or 5 different attorneys, because this has to go out to everybody, then you could just say see attached service list, and we would just have a Word document that would have everybody listed, with all of the different emails for the attorneys, their staff, their paralegals, plus fax numbers, plus addresses. And, there's some cases that I'll have 6 or 7 of them. So it's easier to just do it on a list because you're not going to fit it all on this paper. And then here you are going to check mark certain boxes. You can either do it through the computer or you can do it by hand. We're going to do by mail. Everything needs to be sent out by mail. And then we're going to do it by fax because we do have fax numbers. We can insert in here by email, but we have to have it where they have agreed to it. So, there has to be some sort of communication between us and the defense that says, yes, we agree that we will accept all service and all documents via email. Once we have that, then we could not do mail and then we'll just do email. All right, but we have to have their permission in order to do that. And then make sure that you go down to the bottom here and double click down in the footer because we want to make sure this matches as well. So it says here, notice of deposition, but remember, that's not what we're doing. Instead, this was Form Interrogatories Set 1. That's what it is. Once you've typed that in all caps, then go ahead and go up to the document above the footer, double click it, and that will set you all up. Okay, so then you would save and print this document out as well, and you would put the two together so that you have your form rogs and you have your proof of service. You can scan it, send it, email to Shelley for review, or if you're working in the same office, then you can just print it and have her look at it, however you want to do it. But those are the things that you would need to have in place and sign before you went ahead and sent them out to defense. Now, this isn't a legal pleading or anything, so this is not something we file with the court. This is just something that we have to give to the defense. And so, we could email it, we could fax it, we could mail it, but we do have to have the proof of service, and it has to be all parties are on that proof of service. And so that has to go out to everybody. All right. So hopefully that will help you out a little bit. I'm going to click out of that. And that will tell you how to do form interrogatories. All right.